Garden State. I have finished my hike. I summited Katahdin on June 25th. It took me 3 months and 25 days to finish my hike. And now I'm really excited to share with you guys everything I ended up summiting with and show you what I ended up getting rid of. I went from, I think it was like around a 16-pound base weight and summited Katahdin with a 12-pound base weight. So I did get like rid of 4 pounds of stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna show you guys what works for me. I wanna thank the Trek for letting me vlog my whole hike on their channel. It's been great. The amount of support I got from all the viewers and all the support that I got from the Trek community has been really awesome and definitely helped me complete my hike. So thank you guys. I did make my own YouTube channel, so if you want to watch more post-trail videos, I would recommend heading to my channel. I'm going to put the link down below. It's just my name, Julie Velasquez. I started my hike with the ULA circuit. I started with this pack because even though I had lightweight gear, I, for some reason in my head, thought I was going to be doing really big food carries, and that just wasn't the case. Since I was doing a quicker hike, I literally could resupply every 2 days most of the time. My longest food carry on trail was 5 days in the 100-mile wilderness and summiting Katahdin. So I didn't really need all this extra pack. I really didn't need all that. So in Harper's Ferry, I got really lucky. I got this sent to me. It is a Mountain Smith Zerk 40 pack. And yeah, you can see how much smaller it is. Yeah, I can move so much quicker with this, so much more comfortable with this. And it just had so many cool features. And yeah, I would recommend this pack. I believe they're gonna be available on the Mountain Smith website sometime in mid-August. So keep your eyes open for that. So next up is my tent and my sleeping bag. So both of these are by Z-Packs. This tent is the Z-Packs duplex tent. It's a 2-person tent. Me and my hiking partner Baskets used it the entire trail except for when we were in town and one time in the Smokies where we had to sleep in a shelter. So it's been used quite a bit and it held up great. I went with the Z-Packs 20-degree down quilt. It is really lightweight. Oh wow, it's really smelly. It's really smelly. I didn't wash it yet. It was very warm and cozy, and I slept in it my whole hike and no complaints with that. It was just a great sleeping bag. Highly recommend it. Alright, so tent stakes for my tent. I have a whole mixture here. I have Z-Packs ones, I have MSR ones, and I have some random one that Baskets gave me. For my sleeping pad, I started out with the Thermarest Neo Air X-Lite, which is kind of like this one but a little bit thicker. It's the yellow pad, if you've seen those. It's a pretty popular pad on the AT. I ended up popping that in Virginia, and then I switched to the Uberlite. Also popped an Uberlite in Pennsylvania, and then ended up getting a new one. They actually replaced it for free. Any pad that you have that you're gonna be able to blow up will probably pop if you don't set up in an area where there's no sticks. So just be mindful of where you're setting up your pad. What I ended up doing is I put some rain gear underneath my pad to prevent it from popping, and that worked out really well for me. And then I also just was not lazy anymore and just kind of really cleared the area that I was setting up in, and that really helped me out for not popping it. As for which one's better, the X-Lite or the Uberlite, the Uberlite because it's lighter. You can't go wrong with either one. The X-Lite keeps you a little bit warmer, the Uberlite is lighter. I'd probably go Uberlite just because it's lighter and maybe layer up a little more, wear more layers at night and get maybe some hand warmers if it's gonna get colder. I used this silk liner just in the beginning of my hike. I don't know how many degrees it's supposed to add, but it really felt like it didn't really do anything. So yeah, I ended up getting rid of that, and I don't use one now. So if I know it's gonna be cold, I just probably bring some hand warmers. The 20-degree sleeping bag really held up for me for all the weather I had to deal with. I think the lowest it got was a little bit below 10 degrees. Okay guys, so for my food stuff, my kitchen, I did start with a pot, and this whole setup. I got a pot, I had a mug, I had one of those like little collapsible mugs, I had a bandana, and I did use the Pocket Rocket stove. I cooked sometimes, but I realized that I wasn't really cooking as much anymore because I was just so tired. I ended up packing more like hoagies. I love my gas station hoagies. And I was resupplying every 2 days, so I can go 2 days without a hot meal, you know? So I ended up getting rid of the stove in Virginia. It also made my ankle feel so much better. So I got rid of this. This saved me so much weight. That's like a pound right there between that and the fuel that you have to carry. That pound right there easily. So I ended up just carrying my Z-Packs bear bag, and that was just used to store all my food in. And I didn't really use a spoon. I lost my Toke spoon early on in my hike, and I wouldn't use a spoon to eat my food. I would just eat sandwiches, meats, crackers. I ate food that I didn't really need a spoon for. The only thing I could have used a spoon for was my tuna fish, but I would just scoop it out with crackers. So no spoon, just used my bear bag. Okay, for my filter, I used a Sawyer squeeze. I did start out with the micro squeeze, so it goes mini, micro, and then this regular Sawyer for weight progression. This is the heavier one. So I did start out with the micro, which is the second lightest, I guess you could say. And it would just clog up all the time for me. I went through like 2 of them, and then at that point I'm like, nah, I'll just go with this one. And then this one, I think I used 2 more of these. I'm not like the best at back flushing, so I would just change out my filters. And this one I'd highly recommend. It's awesome and it works really well. Very, very durable. And yeah, Sawyer squeeze, you can't go wrong. They clip right onto your smart water bottles. And I would always carry 1 smart water bottle. In the beginning I carried 2, but 1 was enough for me. I would camel up a lot, drink a lot at the water sources, and then just carry 1 liter. And that was great for me. For my little knick-knack baggie, I carried my Thermarest repair kit. I carried a lighter just in case. You always need to carry a lighter. I carried some nail clippers, and then I carried this little tiny Swiss Army knife. And then I always carried some tenacious tape just in case I needed to repair my pack or my tent. Backup tenacious tape is always good. This is the card I got when I went to Baxter State Park, so I kept that in there. And then for just toiletries, all I carried was a brush. And then I did have one of those mini travel toothbrushes with a little mini toothpaste. And that's all I carried for like toiletries. Okay, so for electronics, I used this headlamp. It's a black diamond spot headlamp, and it worked really, really well. It has a red light, and you're able to lock it so that it doesn't turn on in your pack and you run out of all this battery. For chargers, I started out with 2 of these, and I ended up breaking one. So I ended up getting rid of those, and I went with this one. It charges your phone about 8 times, 2 charges per dot. And this works really well, especially if you're vlogging. You're gonna need some extra battery, so this one's really awesome. An anchor block, it has 2 USBs in it. 2 USBs, so you can charge everything up at once. I had the Z-Packs wallet for all my IDs. That worked really, really well. I had a baggie with some batteries and just my cords for charging. And then I had a dry bag. So this dry bag was really, really great to store my electronics in. It's a Hyperlight Mountain Gear dry bag. So definitely invest in a dry bag because you don't want to get any of this stuff ruined, otherwise you're screwed. So invest in a good dry bag for all your electronics. So what I also used for when it rained very heavily and I needed to quick put my phone away was a Z-Pack small dry bag. I did in the beginning put my phone in a Ziploc baggie, but when I started noticing that water was getting inside my Ziploc, I freaked out and went out and started using this Z-Packs bag. So definitely kept my phone dry, and my phone held up the whole entire trail. So next I'm gonna go over all of my clothing that I had with me on trail. I started with just a cheap t-shirt. Then at the halfway point, I switched to this shirt that fits me a little better. And it's a higher quality Patagonia t-shirt. I got this from the Trek. If you want a shirt like this, you can go to their website. There's a code iTrekFar. Use that code and you'll be able to get one of these shirts. I also changed my bra. So I started with, this is just like a smart wool bra. It's made out of wool, so it kept me really warm in the winter. I lost 3 cup sizes, and so I needed a smaller bra. And so I ended up with this icebreaker one, which is also made out of wool, kept me really warm in the whites. They're both really good. It just depends if you need more support or if you don't. So they're both very comfortable and I liked both of them. Then for hats, so I started my hike actually with just this fleece headband. Honestly, if I had to do it again, I'd probably just get rid of the headband because I'll go over it in a second, but I have the R1, it has a hood on it. I got this in the Shenandoahs. This is a Shenandoah hat. And I really liked it. However, I kept running into trees with it because I'd wear my hat too low. So I ended up getting rid of that. And then I switched to this visor when I got to the 100-mile wilderness because you need a hat to be able to use your bug net. I did change up my socks a lot. So I started with a really heavier wool sock for the winter. Honestly, you don't need one, really. I use these for my sleep socks in the whites and in Maine. So I switched over just like a regular Darn Tough pair of socks to sleep in for the cold nights, and that worked out great. And I ended up switching over to these Ultra Running and Gingy socks. They're really long. I started with the liners, didn't like them, they're so flimsy. So I would just wear these. That's all I'd wear. And I had 2 pairs for hiking. Other shirts, I did get another Trek shirt. I slept in this and also wore this around town. Some days if it was really excruciating hot, I'd wear this to hike in, but I'd really just sleep in it mainly and just had an extra shirt just to have one. It's pretty light, so. This is a smart wool base layer shirt. I wore this just to sleep in. However, when it was cold rain, I did wear this on top of my Trek shirt. Just because I needed to keep my core warm. So I would use this if it got wet, didn't matter, because I could always use my R1 to sleep in if I needed to as a backup dry layer. And also, oh my God, guys, this R1 is amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's hot as hell out, but I want to show you how awesome this R1 is. Literally zip it all the way up and I'm just warm now. I don't need a hat. I don't need a buff around my neck, so it saves you some gear there. Okay, for my bottom base layer, I had these icebreaker leggings. These just kept me like really, really warm. I loved these so much. I would sleep in them at night when it was cold. I wore these Patagonia shorts in the beginning, and then I switched to a smaller pair. As I lost weight, I switched to just a cheap Nike pair. Yeah, these got holes in them. So if you do buy a cheap pair of shorts, you're gonna have to switch them out more. These Nike ones just, look at that, it's just ripped. So ripped. And then for underwear, ex officio underwears are really nice. I went with just 1 pair towards the end because I do have built-in underwear in my shorts. For gloves, I started out with the Outdoor Research Gripper Sensor gloves. Ended up losing them. They were really awesome gloves. I ended up losing them. Ended up buying these Hestro ones that work just as great. And then I got these Outdoor Research rain mitts. These I got in Neil Gap and they lasted me the whole hike. You put these over your gloves when it's raining and your hands don't freeze. And then last but not least, for the clothes is my puffy. This is a Mountain Hardwear down jacket. It's the Ghost Whisperer. It's just an awesome down jacket, super lightweight. I've had this one for about 3 years now, and it's still holding up. I would highly recommend if you have an ankle injury like previously, or a knee injury, or you have some instability in your knee or ankle, I would definitely bring one. These are pretty lightweight ankle braces that I brought because I had an old ankle sprain injury when I was in high school, and since then it would act up every so often if I ran or anything like that. It did act up in Virginia, And so I got these from the Rite Aid. So these saved me. Always address an injury before it gets worse. So definitely bring like anything that'll compress that area and provide it more support. I carried these with me my whole entire hike just in case. And then my Z-Packs dry bag. This is like the tall, slim one, I think. This fit all my clothes in it. All right, so for my rain gear, I use the Marmot Precip jacket. This one kept me really warm. And yeah, it's a little bit heavier, but you need something that's gonna work. If you're miserable in cold rain, it's really hard to hike. So I really recommend this jacket. It's not too heavy, not too light. It's the perfect amount of weight for cold and hot weather. They have pit zips here, and it goes all the way up so that your neck gets covered. It's just a really good jacket. Pants. I have to say, I started with the Marmot Precip pants, and then I switched to the North Face pants. I honestly don't really like either one because they have Velcro at the bottom, and if you get mud on this Velcro, it doesn't close as well, and then it's just opened and all this water mud's getting up your legs. I don't know, I just don't like the North Face ones or the Marmot Precip ones. I really like Basket Montbell wind pants. It's just so much better. It closes up around your ankle way better than these. So I would not recommend these rain pants. Stay away from the North Face one. When I started my hike, I was lining my pack with a contractor bag, and I would get holes in them and all my stuff would get soaked. That's when I used the ULA. And when I switched over, I also bought this Osprey 40-liter just bag liner to put all my stuff in because I just didn't want my stuff to get wet. If I had to do it again, I probably would just buy a better contractor bag and just switch them out every so often. All right, so next is shoes. So before I started my thru hike, I put out a gear video and I did have these Teva shoes in them. But what you should do, and what I ended up doing right before my hike, is think about what your goals are for your hike. If you're gonna spend a lot of time in town, take lots of zeros, bring the camp shoes. It'll make your life easier. If your goal is to try to do the hike a little faster and hike from morning to night, then you don't really need the camp shoes. It's just gonna be extra weight that you're not using. And if you're not using them, get rid of them. What I found is I hardly spent time at camp. I spent the majority of my day hiking. I ended up not zeroing a lot in town, so I would just wear my shoes in town. And that works for me. I know that's not gonna work for everybody, so really think about what type of hike you're looking to hike. So yeah, I ended up just hiking in these ultra lone peaks. I hiked in 5 ultra lone peaks from Georgia to Maine, and these were the ones that I ended up summiting Katahdin with, and they're pretty beat up. So they're not the most durable shoe, but they're really, really comfortable. A lot of people go with ultras because they're zero drop shoes and they have the wide toe box, and your feet are gonna swell, your feet are gonna need that room. And even for the ultras, my foot would spread right out of it. Okay, so last but not least is this fanny pack. So this fanny pack I carried with me to Harper's Ferry, and then I got rid of it because the Zerk 40 just had so many good features and compartments on it that I didn't really need a fanny pack anymore. I could hold all that type of stuff in my little pockets on the shoulder straps, and I didn't really need that, so it went away. So that's everything that I have to share with you guys. I hope you enjoyed my progression of gear from when I started all the way to my finish. If you'd like to see some more post-trail videos, you can head over to my own YouTube channel. I'll leave the link down below, and I'll see you guys next time.